You can either get better, expand, or contract. It's a choice, and we're lucky to be alive right now, in my opinion. So, with that, does anybody have any kind of questions or anything that that might, like resources or anything that you might be wondering about, or did you learn anything in this presentation? Because I want to be effective. That's all I want to be. I don't have an agenda at all except for that. Hi.
I wanted to say that I experienced access consciousness today. Laura Lee worked on me today. Out in the backyard and laying out there in blue skies, and it was wonderful. And it really did. Energetically, it's just like, I mean, I'm dealing with a contract thing or whatever with the house, and I'm like, whatever, you know, I'm going to do what I can to still hang on to my home, because that's what I really want. So I'm focusing on what I really want. And then I did have a question with the card thing, that card thing. So how does that work? Is it like infused with energy, or how?
It's infused with herbs, energy. It's I Ching. It comes from the system of I Ching. And I Ching is just coming back around again. It's always been there. It's basically how to work with this planet, how to be on the planet, how to be part of it. Now there's this. Thanks for bringing that up. Whenever I have a thought that's negative, or I think, oh God, I'm going to get a flat tire, or something stupid like that, I go, identified, access denied, cease to be forevermore. And that knocks any kind of negative, because we're getting hammered. You know, the nicer you are, the harder you're getting hammered, so it's a compliment, but you got to navigate that. And there's this thing called New Earth Nations. Go to YouTube, check it out, or .org. And what it has in place is, as the social systems break down, it has all the solutions around it. And
all right, just
do you know where it is?
Yeah. I appreciate it. No.
Joe, do you want to help her?
Yeah, will you help me, Joe?
Oh, sure.
So one of the things with the Wall Street thing that went on,
it's the deed. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Laura Lee, I gotta go pee.
That's important. See, that's good.
That's recorded.
That's recorded. That's Virginia, by the way. She really appreciates herself because she uses it. But the New Earth Nations, the thing with the protest Wall Street, the 99% and all that, they didn't have a solution in place. So they just hammered on the problem, and then but it really did wake a lot of people up to the reality that we are getting. And then the military is starting to realize, who are we fighting anyway? Why are we going in and killing and pillaging and plundering and raping and all that? So people are waking up to the fact that it's just about banding together and letting people know there's a different way of doing it. The weather is a response to our collective energetic patterns. So the weather is being navigated on the other end too. So I don't know if you people are aware of chemtrails at all.
Sorry.
But chemtrails you can do something about. One of the things you can do is you can skin brush.
Sorry, outside. Go ahead. Go. Yes, skin brushing. Talk about that. Maureen, she has some awesome brushes that.
Oh, Maureen, tell about skin brushing.
I think skin brushing is wonderful too. I'm glad that you like that. It's a wonderful way to move your lymphatic system, right? And the lymphatic system is where is part of the immune system. So when you brush the skin when it's dry, and you use like not a hair brush, but like a boar bristle brush type thing. When you brush the skin, you brush it all toward the heart, right? Because where your lymph starts, think about gravity, you want the lymph to constantly be moving, right? It constantly moves. And when you brush the skin, you move it up toward the heart, because the lymph goes into the bloodstream. The bloodstream then filters out the waste, dumps the waste where?
In the colon.
Again.
And then continues to recycle, right? That's what lymph does. And we have lymph nodes throughout our body, in different places of our body. And when you work the brush, you just move that lymph up to the heart, reversing gravity, right? And keeping that from being stagnant. So it helps with, obviously, with blood flow as well. And then another thing that skin brushing does is it gets rid of the dry skin cells on the body, thus keeping the skin open for absorption as well as detoxification. When we absorb everything through this miraculous sponge, our skin, biggest organ in our body, and just like a pore where you think it opens up, that's exactly what happens, and it sucks in whatever you put in it, right? And if you keep that dead skin off of there, it's much like keeping the colon clean, right? You keep the dead skin off of the skin, it's able to detoxify as well as absorb better. So if you're wanting to use, water therapy like you mentioned before, where you're absorbing water through the sponge, which we do in a bath, or you're just wanting to sweat better, and we always are constantly sweating. We might not feel perspiration, but we're still sweating. It's our body's natural way to keep our temperature balanced. So it helps with both of those functions. So it has a lot of purposes, but the thing that I think of mostly is for the lymphatic system, right? Keeping our immune system robust.
If you keep your immune system strong, then you're pretty much doing everything else.
And the trampoline moves your lips.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of those mini trams, because they do exactly the same thing. Walking does too, any kind of movement.
So if you can sweat an hour a day, you're ahead of the game, by exercise. And there's so many ways of exercises. So there's so many choices out there. And it's just being, just doing it consistent. And then, I always imagine if we had every bruise and scrape that we had in our life and it never went away, what would we look like? But our body takes care of it just automatically. And, a lot of things it takes care of it. And it just wants a little help, a little support help, because we are in such an inundation, such a soup. We can't, crawl up and float on the carrots for a while, but then we're back in the soup. Back in the day, you used to be able to avoid it, but now it's just all over. So it just seems like a real, rich and poor, people are separating. They're either getting it or not. Density or light. It's just either or. But there are people in between who are searching for something and they don't have anywhere to go to. So that's why I'm doing the Radical Wellness TV. So I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of different things around there and make it really entertaining and educational. And anybody who wants to participate, if you know anybody who wants to participate, the crazier the better. So with that, I think I'm complete. And unless anybody has any questions or anything.
You have a ton of wisdom. Thank you, Laura.
Oh, thank you, Virginia.
Well, and I know you were going to show the hanging upside down thing, if anyone wants to see that.
And is it geared for, do you want a demo? Their inversion table. This is an inversion table. And really, gravity's got us compressed and down, and our blood doesn't get to our brain, and we want our brain to function because it really is important. So one of the things with inversion, it could be a minute a day, and sometimes you have to build up to even a minute. So even if it's a second, and then 5 seconds, and then
very powerful.
Right. Another, instead of doing the inversion table, if you don't want one sitting in the middle of your living room, like my dear sister, which is great.
You would believe some of the stuff I have in the middle of my living room usually.
It reminds you to get on it, and really, just a minute. Our bodies don't ask for a lot. But what you can do is you can put a thick book under your mattress, and it'll just elevate it that much.
Which end?
The foot end.
Okay.
So that blood gets to the brain.
Okay.
So really, with all the cell phones and everything, we're just really getting rewired. And we don't need to fight or anything, we need to transcend it. And we're so capable of it, and we're so ready. 20 years ago, I was really called a nutcase, but now I'm a nuttier case. But at least people are appreciating what I have to share. Because I've been born when I was 19 years old. I figured out I just want to help people help themselves. So I was going to be a doctor. I couldn't even pass the application because it's a personality test. And then I became a medical assistant, and then I got my degree, honor student, and then I went to it as an externship program. I don't want to do this. This is terrible. So